All right. Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us here today. I am live with the amazing Peggy Hoover, who just completed the Legacy Brand Foundations and Legacy Brand Transformation one-on-one with me. And we are here live to reveal her brand, and I'm super excited. Thank you, Peggy, so much for joining us today.
Oh, it's my pleasure. It was so much fun working with you, and I'm just over the moon about what we've created together.
Thank you so much. I can't wait to show it off. So if you're joining us live or if you're watching the replay, please say hello. Let us know where you're joining from. And if you have any questions along the way or comments, just go ahead and drop them below. So we're going to go ahead and first talk about the foundational pieces. So, where you came into the process, how we moved through that, how we named what you're doing. And then we'll get to the extra fun part, which is revealing the logo and how it's all evolved. My first question is really, what was your biggest frustration or struggle with your messaging when you came in, and why did you decide that you needed help with that piece?
Well, that is such a great question. And that was really one of my main motivators to work with you because I saw that you had the solution to my struggle. I didn't know that fully at the time, but I just had a felt sense of it. So, as you know, I was in the process of completely rebranding myself. I had been working with my husband previously. We had been doing our coaching and consulting together. And while I loved that, I really knew in my heart that I was being pulled to working with women, female entrepreneurs. And I had this dream in my heart, but I couldn't really articulate it.
Yes.
Do you know? And
Yeah.
and it's like that thing right in here that just draws you out of your bed every day. And you once you get into the flow of it, I could articulate it a little bit kind of sort of when I was in one-on-ones with people, because then I could connect directly to their concern. If I was having coffee with a gal at a coffee shop, I could explain it to her, but I couldn't wrap my arms around it fully
Mhm.
to really get a grip on a concise, cohesive one liner or statement. And so that was really my biggest challenge in the beginning.
Yeah, and that makes sense. I have so many people coming, and especially like you said, some people just never nailed it or they're shifting slightly. But you had an amazing past serving people, like you said, with your husband and had so many results. But when you do shift, it's a pretty big shift. So
Right.
that's amazing. And so I'd love to hear how going through the process helped you with that. And then we'll go ahead and show first the brand manual, which is showing how everything came together.
So what I loved about the process that you took me through was that, and that we worked on together, was that it was really this step by step guide and a container for me, really to have that safe space to really get all of it that was inside of me out into a framework. Because while I knew for certain it was inside of me, I didn't know how to frame it up. I didn't know how to contextualize it and where to put the puzzle pieces. Do you know what I mean? And so working with you, I remember sitting in this very office, um, really having the space and to dream and
Mhm.
to get all of that out of my heart and onto paper. And to be quite honest, it was a bit confronting. Um, Not because of anything you were doing. In point of fact, it was actually what you were doing that was allowing me to get it out. But just to bring that whole hearted message out into the light of day
Mhm.
is a little putting yourself in that vulnerable position. Do you
Yeah.
know what I mean? It's like giving birth to something. So, I felt so safe, and you created such a safe space for me to write my heart out, to get it all out of me. And the truth is, I mean, it still moves me. I was amazed by what came out of me and the words that came out of me and the images that we worked on together. Mostly what I was so enthralled with was your ability to take all of that, which I felt was just reams and reams of it's like, this is a lot. I tend to be very inclusive in my descriptions. And you found a way to distill it and to be that channel for visual images and colors and textures and a palette to pull it all together. So that's what I loved about this process, was that you brought more of me out of me and then found a way to beautifully image it. It was amazing. It was such a cool process.
Thank you so much for sharing that. And it's so the case when people come into the process, they have no idea what to expect. And
Right.
it's amazing what comes out of people. And that's my favorite piece, because I know that it's always inside the person, but it's a matter of
Right.
getting it out and then fine tuning it. And then also, like I always say, you can't see the label inside the bottle. So when you sit and you try to pull it out of you yourself, it's, you're too close to it. So that's really where I come in, and I love to support people.
And you do such a beautiful job of it, and that is so true. I mean, what I realized through the process, and I actually just realized that right now as you were saying that, is I was trying to write it in a way that it would land well, instead of writing it from my heart first and then having someone in the body of you help me message it and massage it and turn it into something very relatable to my ideal client.
Yes.
So true.
So good. All right. Well, let's go ahead. I'm going to quickly show everybody the brand manual. And we won't take a ton of time here. Plus, we don't want to give all the secrets away. But when we go through here, we first get very clear on values. And I'll have a few follow-up questions around, these specific pieces at the end. But, values are really, and the values, the vision, the mission, and the big idea, to me, are really those foundational pieces that everybody has to get set first. So then we can build everything else on top of here. So Peggy's mission that we created was, we help female entrepreneurs raise the awareness of what's possible for them and give them a proven path to success so they can actually live from a place of beautiful co-creation and fulfill their purpose. Then we come down, we go over the target market. The brand story is super important. So this is actually the guiding principles of how you're going to walk people through the journey and how you're going to talk to them and what you're going to have on the sales page, which we'll show a little bit later. And so Peggy is, these are the naming conventions that we gave you, is opulence advocate, dream life cultivator, alignment strategist, author, thought leader, and ally. And then if we come down to, we're not going to go through everything because that would just take too long, but this is everything that Peggy can literally copy and paste into her content. But this is really where we came to the conclusion of what this all was going to be. So create a life and business beyond your wildest dreams with joy, ease, and grace, the spirit of opulence, the modern art and science of manifestation. So I'd love to hear from your perspective, just having this document and having those specific, pieces and words, what's that been able to do for you?
Well, I'll start from the beginning. I mean, so much. And when I signed up with you, I'm a person who, can you hear me okay?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, good. I'm a person who leaps with my heart. I just knew that you had what I needed from seeing you working with other people and through our conversations. So I cannot emphasize enough. Going through this process has helped me. Just going through the process before we got to the brand guide. Today, I'm going through my own live launch sessions. Thank you. And everything that I'm teaching, it's all inside of this rubric of the work that we did together. So that has been invaluable. Having this brand manual, my VA uses it for content for my social media posts, going through the copywriting that I've gone through for my email sequence, my sales page, my website. The copywriters can just nail it because they have this as a background asset and they don't have to ask me all these questions or wonder or guess. I mean, it's turned that process into an extremely streamlined process that's just been incredible. I said to one of my email copywriters that's been helping me, you nailed it. Like you write like me, only more me, and we've been co-creating this together, but it's like, she knows my voice, she knows my values. So having this brand manual I use it, my team uses it, my ad team uses it. It's just invaluable. So
I'm so glad to hear that.
thank
And
you.
that is definitely the goal. So I'm so glad. And you just went with it too, to everybody. That's the other piece. We'll get to at the end, how people can follow Peggy, because I was just amazed too with Peggy. She's shifting, rebranding, and we finished not too long ago, and she's doing her live launch. She's going for it and already impacting so many new people. So it's
Thank you.
like, you amaze me as well.
Thank you. Well, I can tell you that it's just like building a house. If you're rebranding or if you're wanting to up level your brand, I mean, look, we're always growing. I'm in the personal development and growth industry, but it doesn't really matter what industry you're in. As a professional, the leaders go first.
Mm-hmm.
So it's always about up leveling your own game, and having this process and having these assets as a strong foundation to my house, so to speak, that I'm building up. I feel calm, more calm. I feel strong in my foundation. I feel clear in my messaging and who I am and what I'm about. And the feedback I'm getting in the last, when did I start going live with the social media? 6 weeks. The
I think
feedback,
so.
does
Yeah,
that sound right?
about that time.
The feedback I'm getting is phenomenal. I mean, people are like, it resonates. It's so you, it's inspiring. So your process is doing exactly what I hoped it would do. So thank you.
Yes, absolutely. And speaking of that, so the next piece is the visuals. So once we go through the foundational pieces, and this happens with, I worked with Peggy one-on-one. This also happens in my Legacy Brand Foundations group when I take a group of people through the process. And so whichever way it is, this is the same process we go through. Once the foundations and the messaging is clear, then we move into the visuals. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen again and show everybody what that visual manifestation turned out to be, which is super exciting. So first we look at, again, all of the core ideals, supporting ideals, brand descriptors, and that all goes into creating the logo. So I personally work on the logo. I also have a small team that helps me produce after the logos are created. So this is the logo set that we created for Peggy, and this is the naming convention that we ended with was the opulent entrepreneur, really calling in those people. And I'll have you talk a little bit more to your work, Peggy, after this. We're really calling in her ideal clients. And then, we have two logos, one that mimics this, and then also this is her signature logo. Then we move through and talk about colors. And we spent a lot of time on the colors and like what Peggy wears, but also what would, resonate with the ideal clients, some additional inspiration that she could bring in. And, Peggy lives in Colorado in the beautiful mountains and really lives this amazing luxury lifestyle. So we wanted to bring that in as well. And then also looking at, the fonts here to bring in that same feeling. And then last but not least, the photography. So we also, I had the pleasure and the honor of helping creative direct Peggy's photo shoot, which again, magically she pulled together really quickly, had these gorgeous photos taken that were really on brand. And then we talked about too, like how she could long-term, when the state of the world is a little better, capture photographs when she's like with her clients and all of those good things as well. So I'd love to hear your thoughts on that process as well, Peggy.
Well, again, just bringing order to the chaos that was in my mind and my heart. I am a big idea generator. So getting this into a singular document that, like I said, I give it to my VA and she uses it on my social media. I think what you also did for us, I know what you did for us, is you provided social media templates that are just gorgeous and completely on brand, beautiful. Like I said, I feel like this has raised my level of professionalism in a way that is so coherent and so comprehensive. I'm so grateful. And it wasn't always clear to me how it was always, how it was going to come together. I had faith in you, and that's really all I needed. But what I would say is that I feel so blessed, and I know that there's no accidents. We talk about this. I mean, I have worked with some of the greatest people in the personal development industry, as have you. My current mentor is Bob Proctor, and I totally believe that we attract what's in our hearts and minds. And so, no accident that I met you. But having this brand guide has enabled me to feel completely confident that everything that I put out there is consistent with the 7-figure business that I'm running, and with the inspiration for the 7-figure business that I want to help other women to achieve with joy, ease, and grace. And so, for that, I'm grateful.
Amazing. Thank you. Yeah. And speaking of that, why don't we show everybody really quickly then from the guide, then what's produced after the guide, right? The guide's one thing, but like you said, we have the social media assets. And then right now we have your beautiful sales page that you're using in your live launch. And then next up will be the full website, but because, that's the thing about the process too. It does take some time, but like you mentioned, we started, went for it, and you're launching. We haven't even finished it, but there's no need to, there's really no need to. You can keep going. And a lot of people wait until everything's complete. And I said, it's like, why wait? Just go. So I love that you're doing that too. So here we go. Let's show, here are some Instagram posts. I'm just going to scroll through quickly. And again, the photos that were captured were just beautiful. So these are, really for Instagram, the daily posts. You don't have to think about it. Your team can just go. So my team created these. Now your team can use these. They can add to them, testimonials, all of those things. Then we have, these are actually the headers. I know you chose one of them, but we came up with multiple solutions for your Facebook group header. And again, it's just beautiful. And then that way too, you could change them up over time if you wanted to, however you wanted to do that. And then the Facebook posts, which are fairly similar to the Instagram posts. But like you said, this ensures that everything stays super consistent, on brand, the entire time. So that's so, so important. And the one thing that I often see entrepreneurs doing online is playing in Canva, having fun, spending a lot of time doing that, and then making their brand diluted because, even if they're using the same color, but those templates aren't always similar and consistent, it can really throw people off. So now everybody's going to know this is Peggy, this is the opulent entrepreneur. And then last but not least, I will share the amazing sales page. So Peggy, obviously works with amazing women who are mastering their millionaire mindset. So that's exactly the content. And a lot of this content was pulled directly, like she said, she has a copywriter that wrote the entire page, but a lot of this was pulled directly from the brand manual. And so you can see how it all came together in an amazing page. And then I can't wait to work on the full website next, which will have the similar look and feel, but it will be built out, completely. So, yeah, Peggy, if you want to just share last but not least that experience, and then a little bit more about your work, just so people understand if they're watching this today and want to learn more about you, how they can connect with you, that would be amazing.
Absolutely.
Too.
Yes. So, I was just thinking while you were talking, branding is so important. Like I said, I'm up-leveling my business to go from 7 figures to multiple 7 figures. And my dream is, in addition to the financial goals that I have, is really to impact women in a big way to help them live completely financially abundant lives, but also lifestyle, freedom and happiness, let go of the hustle and grind, etc. And if you think of any major brand, Coca-Cola, Starbucks, Delta, and I know you've worked with many of these big brands previously in your corporate life. those brands aren't making it up as they go. They don't have somebody in Canva every day picking, a new color palette or a new format to represent what it is they stand for, provide, and deliver. And so I just want to say, at first this was it wasn't a totally new concept to me, but I kind of thought, oh, well, I'm using the same, templates, et cetera. But the truth is, people will start to recognize my brand, because once you see things over and over and over again, the Coca-Cola image, even if it doesn't say Coca-Cola, you'll know that that's it. Or the Starbucks brand, or Delta, the Delta image. So the importance of this cannot be overstated. And what Tiffany does, and the way that she takes you through this, it's not just about creating those assets for the sake of that, but it's really built on that foundation of who you truly are at the core of your being. And to me, that's one of my highest values. So I love that. The second bit is, it makes your business easier, because let's face it, we've gone through a year of COVID, but the truth is, people are going to find your business online unless you do a very specific business that is very siloed and not, represented online. And this process has made it so easy for me. I provide a Google Doc with written content, and my VA, who is great, takes one of the templates and just plugs it in beautifully. So this has streamlined our marketing in ways that I'm forever grateful for. And then switching to what I do. So I love what I do. As you can see, it comes out, through the assets that Tiffany and I have created together. But what I do is take women who really have experienced a certain level of success, as I had in my previous life. I call it my previous life, before and after. And I had really achieved all the brass rings that I thought the American dream were going to make me happy. I lived in a big house. I was blessed to have many huge financial resources. And yet there were certain dynamics in my life, my marriage, my mental health and well-being, that I was just miserable inside. And you couldn't really see that from the outside, because all of my life force was going into making the outside look right, because I thought I should be happy with what I had. And when I started to find out that the truth was that I had so much more inside of myself, and I was not living in alignment with what was inside of me, that's when everything started to change. And that's when I met Bob Proctor, who, like I said, is, I believe, to be one of the leading people in our industry in personal development. And when I started to work with him, my life changed overnight. My anxiety and depression evaporated. My self-medicating with alcohol, I was able to leave that behind. I have such a beautiful life now, and I know how to recreate that on a daily basis. And that changed my life so much that now all I want to do is teach it to other women. So I help women who have been successful, have a drive to be successful, but want to do it without the hustle and grind. Because, as you know, as good Midwesterners, hard work and determination and grit were my go-tos. And I'm not saying that you don't need to focus and apply yourself, but there's an easier way, and it's so much more enjoyable and pleasurable. So that's what I teach women: how to create, manifest, and live your dream 7-figure business and lifestyle. So
Amazing. Well, thank you for
love my work.
sharing that. So how can people first follow you? What's the best way if they want to learn more about your work?
Yeah, well, I would invite you to connect with me on Facebook, Peggy Hoover, Peggy King Hoover. I also have a private Facebook group for women where we talk about these ideas. It's where my launch is happening this week. It's called The Opulent Entrepreneur, and you can find that on Facebook. And I'd love to connect. My email is hoover.peg@gmail.com. Shoot me an email, check out our Facebook group. Tiffany can connect you to me. But if you have any questions about working with Tiffany, I'm also happy to answer one-on-one questions. Oh, it's just been a joy working with you. And it's been, drinking from a fire hose, because I've been doing so many things. I was also learning how to do the live launch process while Tiffany and I were working together on this. But working with you, Tiffany, I just from the bottom of my heart am so deeply grateful because you had my back. You helped me to produce these beautiful assets. And really, the most important thing is to draw out of me what was deep inside of me and put it together in a way that makes sense to people outside of the bottle. Because it used to take me days to explain what I did and what I stood for. And now I have a tagline, I have beautiful visuals. And for that, I'm forever grateful. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And thank you for being here today to share all of this and let me share it to the world. It's one of my favorite things to do is once we put in all the work, I want others to see it. And so if you would like results like Peggy, I am also having a workshop on April 30th. I had to think for a second. I was so excited. April 30th, which is a Friday from 1 to 3 p.m. Eastern. And we'll be going through the top biggest mistakes that entrepreneurs make. We'll be going through what the legacy brand process is on a more detailed level. You kind of saw it here today with Peggy, but we'll be really diving in and also doing some exercises. It's a live workshop where you get to interact with other participants and network and amazing things like that as well. So I hope you join me. We'll put that link in below here. And then again, Peggy, thank you so much for joining and taking your time to reveal your brand today.
Pleasure is mine.
All right.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
everybody.